Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to the Sandwich of Coherency. So, all the crazy, let's jump right into this. As you know, I'm gonna give this a little bit of a, kind of like maybe like an 80s, 90s announcer type voice with the lead in. So, as you know, the Democrat Party has been guilty again of spending, rampant spending that the American taxpayers are unaware of. Now, in a recent tirade of spending, okay, I lost it. In a recent tirade of their spending, okay, the absolute insane spending, the Democrats had the American Rescue Plan, and it's trillions of dollars, and they're touting how much it benefited American citizens, how this was good for the people, and it did this and it did that, blah, 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 bullshit. And pretty much did none of the things that they said it would do. It actually made inflation worse. And Byron Donalds from Florida had to give the Democrats on the left kind of like an introduction into how finances and how inflation actually works and what, some of the causing factors behind it, because apparently they are absolutely unaware, but oh boy, they keep talking about it. And then Jason Smith later on goes on and he breaks down exactly what can be found in this American Rescue Plan. The things that the Democrats didn't tell you, that just the crazy things that the money went to. And we can just go ahead and maybe we should pull it up and look even further again, because we've looked into it and it was ridiculous. But some of the things he mentions here, that we're going to play, we didn't even cover. So there's just, oh man. And when you hear this, when you hear it, it should make you upset with your leaders. It should make you want to call your leaders, write your leaders, express your disdain for their job performance, because it's very poor. It does nothing to benefit the constituents. Okay, for all the touting that the left does about what the American Rescue Plan did, it has made urban and lower income and minority neighborhoods and areas even worse. They have improved nothing. Nothing. Do you think that these places that they're saying that the ARP helped are doing any better than they were 2 years ago, 5 years ago? In Chicago, Baltimore. Oh man. Okay. All right. The reality is that they both point out the fact that it wasn't the American Rescue Plan that really did anything. It was actually the fact of the United States finally getting back to work, and to get the president talking about, we created X amount of jobs despite the fact that over 4 million people were fired from their jobs. The reality is that their job creation that they're touting is not creating jobs per se, but rather people going back to their jobs they had before. That is what they're using as their metric. But let's just go ahead and jump right into this. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get to the grilling. The grilling. If you want smoke, all you need to do is grill, my guy.
Gentleman from Florida, Mr. Donalds, for 5 minutes.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Witnesses, panelists, thanks for being here. I find it interesting that we're talking about the American Rescue Plan, since it just didn't work, guys. I mean, come on, I'm a finance guy by trade. I just got to Capitol Hill. Couple things. I know the witnesses have said previously that the benefits of the American Rescue Plan have been the potential evictions for people not having enough money to pay rents, decrease in child poverty. I think those are like the big two. Well, we'll come back to that. Give me a second, we'll get there. But it's without question that the American Rescue Plan has led to inflation. Every economist basically has said this. I mean, look, if you want to talk about inflation, you have a lot of money going to people, right, wrong, or indifferent, money went to people. They didn't have to earn it, which means productivity in the economy is actually down. So people have money, but productivity is down. But when people take that money to go spend it, I mean, yes, doctor, this is kind of how this works. When they take the money to go spend it in an economy where productivity is down because there's not enough supply of goods and services available, prices then go up in response because productivity is down, but everybody's got money. That's how we get to inflation. The job market, let's talk about that one real briefly. Yes, coming out of the time when the American economy was shut down by government policy because of COVID-19, the job market suffered major hits. But it's virtually without question that in the red states that had opened up, I'm the gentleman from Florida, I know, the job market actually responded quite well to businesses being able to open up and operate. It was in blue states where the job market did not respond as well. But we all knew up here on Capitol Hill that if you just, opened up, the businesses would come back.
And that is what happened to DC. That's what he goes on to say. But, I want to stop there and point out the fact that he had to explain how inflation works to them. And, and the thing about the productivity being down, adding to the inflation, there's another major important factor that he didn't touch on, which is the fact that you had the shipping crisis, which we're still dealing with now. And that in itself held a lot of goods at bay, which actually caused the lack of goods. It wasn't just lack of productivity. And then you take into account that during that whole situation, the price of shipping increased dramatically, and that's when it doesn't get talked about enough. But, like I said, when you're going from $1,000 to $3,000 to send a shipping container to, $12,000 to damn near $20,000 to ship that same container, the cost of goods go up. And that's the thing that, that the White House administration is confusing citizens on and using, and actually the fact that they believe a lot of people don't understand that they're using that as in order to cover that. They're blaming it on the businesses, saying the businesses are price gouging. Sorry, I get so frustrated with thinking about this that it just starts to stutter. You get flustered. I mean, you want to scream sometimes. And the fact that they want to blame the companies for the increase of prices because of that, is basically by saying they're price gouging. No, they don't want to admit the fact that they're meeting the market supply and demand, as the supply goes down and the demand goes up, so does the price. But according to the White House administration, they should lower the price. Yes. This product that you were going to buy that was $20 that we have so little supply of, because of the demand, the price is going up to $30. No, the Biden administration says, no, don't charge them $30 because of that. You should sell it to them for $10 because of that. Because you're almost out anyway, you should sell it for even cheaper. Because again, the White House is attempting to break small businesses. That's how I view that. That's really how I view that. But in the next bit, this is where Jason Smith basically points out how reckless the spending for the American Rescue Plan actually is.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's been over 15 months since the $2 trillion American Rescue Plan, as I refer to it, the Biden bailout bill, was signed into law, sparking the highest inflation in 40 years. Inflation has risen 12.2% since Joe Biden took the oath of office. We have seen gas prices surge to 109% above since Joe Biden took the oath of office. I want to thank Chairman for agreeing to hold this oversight hearing We've been asking for it for some time, and yet this oversight hearing undercut by the fact that President Biden's rescue czar, Gene Sperling, and Treasury Secretary Yellen are not here. Mr. Chairman, as you know, I sent you a letter requesting you add a second panel of executive branch witnesses for the hearing so Mr. Sperling and Secretary Yellen could answer the questions they have thus far ignored from our timeless efforts one after another. And I ask unanimous consent to submit the letter to the record.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Sperling was appointed to oversee the implementation of this $2 trillion boondoggle. Secretary Yellen's department is responsible for administering over $1 trillion worth of its programs and benefits. Many of these made it more rewarding to stay out of the workforce in 2021 than seek gainful employment, worsening the labor and supply chain problems we see today. For over a year, we have cataloged numerous examples of ridiculous waste of federal tax dollars from the American Rescue Plan, $1,400 stimulus checks to Japanese citizens living in Japan, $783 million to checks to prisoners, $2 million to purchase a ski area, $140 million for luxury hotel developments in Florida, $20 million to modernize fish hatcheries in Maine, $4 million for a bird sanctuary, $2 million for a golf course. Sounds like a lot, but there's a lot more. $15 million of taxpayer dollars to help develop a venue in New Jersey to host the 2026 World Cup. $7 million to social media influencers to promote seafood. $2 million to plant trees in New York. $5 million for a moonshine walking trail. $7 million for horse racing in Arizona. $250,000 for pickleball courts. $800,000 for luxury apartments in Connecticut, and $4 million for beach bathrooms and parking lots in South Carolina. This list goes on and on. This is why we need answers from the administration. So what did American families get? I'll tell you, they got higher prices and lower real wages. Inflation began to rise to the fastest level in 40 years the month after Democrats passed the $2 trillion bill. Inflation was 1.7% in February of 2021, the month before passage of this boondoggle. The economy shrank 1.5% in the first quarter of 2022, 4.4 percentage points lower than where the Congressional Budget Office said it should be prior to passage of this boondoggle. The labor force participation rate is still below pre-COVID levels. The deficit in 2021 was $517 billion higher than the Congressional Budget Office said it would have been before passage of this boondoggle.
How much more do you need? I mean, this is their amazing American Rescue Plan that they're touting. Oh, it did so much. I mean, paying social media influencers to promote seafood? Yeah. I'm pretty sure the hungry Americans appreciate that. I mean, the luxury apartments? Oh man, I'm pretty sure the American citizens that are trying to figure out how to pay their bills appreciate that. A golf course. I'm pretty sure the American people that are trying to figure out how to put fuel in the tank so they can go to work really appreciate that. And I'm pretty sure America really is glad that the American Rescue Plan spent money on a ski resort and a luxury hotel. I mean, luxury apartments, luxury hotels. This is really Did any of that do anything to keep American people from winding up on the street? Does that do anything to address the problems in many cities around the nation? Does it help fight homelessness? Does it help feed hungry children? Does it stop violence in places like, I don't know, Democrat cities all over the nation, especially the big ones? Does it do anything at all? And this is, everybody keeps thinking, oh, Biden's benefiting the little guy. No, Biden has been in the pocket of the credit card industries pretty much since he began politics. He is not for helping the little man. People say, oh, remember when Trump did that one tax cut and people were mad because they said teachers are not going to be able to afford to get the things that they need to keep their classrooms functioning without addressing the major issue there. Why are teachers having to buy out of their own personal wages things for their classes that the school itself should be providing? We have a problem there. There is a major problem. What are the school districts doing with the money? That should be addressed. But that tax cut actually prevented high income earners, those that you call the elite and all that other stuff, from being able to have excessive tax breaks. Well, guess what? Biden got rid of that tax cut. It actually ended up benefiting American citizens because in multiple ways. It did help American citizens on their tax returns, getting a little bit more back. But what it also did was it actually benefited communities because it stopped money from leaving the districts. It stayed in the cities. It didn't go to somebody's tax break. I mean, putting it back in place, which Biden has done, will allow people to claim up to $70,000 in tax breaks. And you got to ask yourself, how much money do you have to be taking in to be claiming that much? And then you got to ask yourself, did Biden really do that for the little guy? See, there's little things like that really should be making you scratch your head and wonder why the hell you voted for that guy. And why did you vote for his people? But I hope that this is all coming to light for many people that have been in the dark, and I know that more and more people are starting to see the writing on the wall, and I hope they hear it coming directly in stereo. But I thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.